Scientists found something strange in the Euphrates. Is this revelation prophecy? Something is happening at the Euphrates River that scientists cannot fully explain. But before we jump to any conclusions, we need to understand exactly what happened and could tie to prophecy. Let's start with the announcement that shook the prophetic world. Number 1. The Euphrates is drying, and it's revealing hidden structures. The Euphrates River has been shrinking. And I'm not talking about minor fluctuations. I'm talking about a dramatic, unprecedented reduction in water flow that has exposed structures no living human has ever seen. Let me give you the timeline. In 2022, water levels dropped so severely that an entire ancient city emerged near the Mosul Reservoir. It was called Kemune, a 3,400-year-old city from the Mitanni Empire that had been submerged since the 1980s when the Haditha Dam was built. German archaeologists raced to the site before the water returned. What they found was remarkable. Mud brick chambers, storage vaults, ritual spaces, cuneiform tablets still sealed in clay envelopes, bronze tools and pottery dating back 1,500 years before Christ. And tunnels, deliberately sealed tunnels leading to chambers that hadn't been opened in over 3 millennia. But that was just the beginning. Throughout 2022 and 2023, as drought conditions intensified and Turkey's upstream dams reduced flow, more than 80 submerged sites emerged across Syria and Iraq. Near the ancient city of Ana in Iraq's Anbar province, limestone caves carved into the riverbanks became accessible for the first time in generations. These weren't natural formations. They were carved, expanded, used. Iraqi archaeologists describe finding what they called ancient jails, prison-like cells dating back over 4,000 years to the pre-Christian city of Talbes. Inside, they found iron chains, skeletal remains, burial urns, walls etched with early Semitic script, narrow passages that echoed with every sound. Local workers described them as scary caves, extending 50 to 100 meters inland, with sections that had never been fully explored. In 2023, near the ancient site of Mari in Syria, Neolithic cave systems emerged, some dating back 10,000 years. Ground-penetrating radar revealed hidden chambers that had never been mapped. One chamber contained what archaeologists described as a binding altar, a stone slab with holes that appeared designed for restraints. In 2024, the Haditha Dam area revealed additional grottos and tunnel networks. Some showed acoustic anomalies, strange sounds that echoed through the chambers. Viral videos spread across social media featuring recordings of what sounded like moaning and chains rattling from deep within the tunnels. Scientists explained it as wind moving through narrow passages and loose rocks shifting. But that didn't stop the speculation. And then, in 2025, something happened that added fuel to the fire. In western Anbar province, authorities discovered a cave system with a sealed submerged chamber. They immediately restricted access. Reports mentioned sealed jars and metal objects inside, but officials refused to disclose details, citing preservation concerns. The discovery went viral. What are they hiding? Why won't they show us what's inside? Is this the prison of the 4 angels? Now, I'm going to address those questions directly. But first, you need to understand what the Bible actually says about the Euphrates River. Because what's written in Revelation is far more significant and far more terrifying than any cave. Number 2. The prophecy about the Euphrates. Revelation 9. There are only two rivers mentioned by name in the book of Revelation. One is the river of life flowing from God's throne in the New Jerusalem. The other is the Euphrates. And what Revelation says about the Euphrates is unlike anything else in Scripture. Revelation 9:13-15. KJV. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, Loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of men. Let me break this down. The sixth trumpet sounds. A voice from God's altar issues a command. 4 angels are released, and they kill 1/3 of humanity. Now, here's the critical detail that most people miss. These are not holy angels. Holy angels are never described as bound in Scripture. Holy angels serve God freely. They're dispatched on missions. They worship before His throne. They're never imprisoned. But these angels are bound, restrained, held at the Euphrates until a precise moment, an hour, a day, a month, and a year determined before the foundation of the world. These are fallen angels, demonic entities so dangerous, so destructive, that God Himself has kept them chained, supernatural prison, until the exact moment He releases them for judgment. And when that moment comes, look at what happens next. Revelation 9:16-18. KJV. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth, and brimstone, and the heads of. The horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these 3 was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. 200,000. That's 200 million. An army of 200 million led by 4 fallen angels, killing 1/3 of the human population. This is not a metaphor. This is not symbolic poetry. This is a prophetic description of a future judgment so catastrophic that nothing in human history compares. And it's connected to one specific location, the Euphrates River. So when that river starts drying up, when ancient structures start emerging, when caves with chains and sealed chambers start appearing, you can understand why people are paying attention. But here's the question everyone is asking. Are the caves that scientists discovered the actual prisons of these 4 angels? Is Revelation being fulfilled right now? Let me give you the honest answer. Number 3. What scientists actually found inside the caves. Let's be clear about what archaeology has revealed. The caves emerging from the Euphrates are genuinely ancient. They're genuinely mysterious. And they contain genuinely unsettling features. But they're not what social media claims they are. Let me walk you through what's actually been found. The Talb's Cemetery Tunnels, Anna, Iraq. These caves were used for burials and possibly imprisonment. Archaeologists found iron chains, but chains were common in ancient prisons and burial rituals. Skeletal remains were discovered, consistent with cemetery use over centuries. Burial urns contained human ashes, normal funerary practice. The scary, narrow passages. They're unsettling, but they're architecture, not supernatural holding cells. The Mitanni chambers, Mosul region. These were storage and ritual rooms from a Bronze Age empire. Cuneiform tablets sealed in clay envelopes suggest administrative records, not demonic imprisonment. The deliberately sealed tunnels were likely closed to protect valuables or as part of abandonment when the empire fell. The Mari cave systems, Syria. These Neolithic caves date back 10,000 years, long before the Bible was written. The binding altar with stone restraints? Archaeologists believe it was used for animal sacrifice, not angel imprisonment. Flint tools and animal bones suggest these were shelters and ritual sites for early farming communities. Number 4. What Revelation actually teaches about the Euphrates angels. Here's what most people get wrong about the 4 angels bound at the Euphrates. They assume that if the river dries up, the angels are automatically released. They assume that if caves are exposed, the seals are breaking. They assume that archaeology could somehow trigger prophetic fulfillment. But that's not how Revelation works. Let me show you why. First, the angels are restrained by God. God's authority is what binds them, not river water, not underground tunnels, not sealed doors. Second, they can only be released by a specific command. Look at the text again. Revelation 9:14, KJV. Loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. The command comes from the golden altar before God. It's issued through the 6th angel's trumpet. It's a divine decree, not a natural event. No drought releases these angels. No dam construction releases these angels. No archaeological dig releases these angels. No cave collapse releases these angels. Only God's command, at the precise hour, day, month, and year He has determined, releases these angels. Third, their release triggers global supernatural warfare. When these 4 angels are loosed, an army of 200 million follows. 1/3 of humanity dies. Fire, smoke, and brimstone pour from the mouths of terrifying creatures. Does that sound like anything happening today? We're not in the 6th trumpet judgment. We're not in the tribulation period. The seals haven't been opened. The first 5 trumpets haven't sounded. The 4 angels are still bound. So finding caves along the Euphrates, no matter how eerie they look, is not the fulfillment of Revelation 9. But here's where it gets interesting, because Revelation mentions the Euphrates a second time, and this reference might be even more relevant to what we're seeing today. Number 5. The drying Euphrates, a stage setter, not the trigger. Most people focus on Revelation 9 when they think about the Euphrates. But there's another passage that specifically describes the river drying up, and it's directly connected to Armageddon. Revelation 16:12, KJV. And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Let me show you what's happening here. The 6th bowl judgment. The Euphrates dries up, and its drying serves a strategic military purpose. It prepares a pathway for the kings of the east to march toward Armageddon. Now, think about what's happening in the real world right now. Turkey has built a series of massive dams on the upper Euphrates, the Southeast Anatolia Project, or GAP, reducing downstream flow by 40 to 50%. Climate change is intensifying droughts across the Middle East. Iraq's portion of the Euphrates has dropped to historic lows. Entire villages along the river have been abandoned as water sources disappeared. And as the river recedes, what happens? Ancient pathways are exposed. River crossings that had been submerged become accessible. Military corridors that were blocked by water are opening up. Is this the fulfillment of Revelation 16:12? Not yet. The bowl judgments come during the Great Tribulation. We're not there, but, and this is critical, we're seeing the stage being set. The Euphrates didn't need to dry up for most of human history. The prophecy could have seemed impossible. How could a major river just disappear? But now we can see exactly how it could happen. Dams, drought, climate, geopolitics. The mechanism is already in motion. The prophecy is being prepared, even if it isn't being fulfilled. And that distinction matters. Number 6. Why these caves fascinate prophecy watchers. I understand why people are captivated by these discoveries. Let me be honest about what makes them so compelling. The elements are genuinely eerie. Iron chains found in ancient chambers, stone slabs with restraint holes, echoing sounds that seem to moan through underground passages, sealed caves that authorities won't let anyone enter, ground-penetrating radar revealing hidden rooms, unmapped tunnels extending into darkness. This isn't just archaeology. This is atmosphere. And when you combine that atmosphere with Revelation's description of bound angels at the Euphrates, your mind naturally connects the dots. The theories are understandable, even if they're wrong. These caves are the prisons of the 4 angels. The seals are breaking as the water recedes. The 200 million army is preparing to rise from underground. We found the gates of Revelation. I get it. If I didn't know my Bible well, I might wonder the same things. The visual imagery is powerful. Ancient caves, drying river, chains, sealed chambers, prophetic location. It feels like prophecy. It looks like prophecy. But here's what Scripture actually teaches. There is no biblical support for angels being imprisoned in physical caves. Angels, fallen or otherwise, are spiritual beings. They operate in a spiritual dimension. When Scripture describes angels being bound, it's describing supernatural restraint, not limestone walls. 2 Peter 2:4 KJV. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment. Chains of darkness, not chains of iron. Number 7. Why this matters prophetically. The Convergence sign. Let me show you what I believe God is doing through these discoveries. Because even though the caves are not literal angel prisons, the timing of their appearance is not coincidental. Consider what's happening simultaneously. The Euphrates is drying. For the first time in modern history, we can physically see how Revelation 16:12 could be fulfilled. The river that once seemed permanent is shrinking. The barrier is weakening. The pathway is opening. Ancient structures are emerging. Things that have been hidden for thousands of years are suddenly visible. The past is resurfacing. The hidden is being revealed. Middle Eastern coalitions are forming. Russia, Iran, and Turkey, the exact nations described in Ezekiel 38, are aligned and active north of Israel. Military installations are multiplying. Tensions are escalating. Israel is at the center of global attention. The Gaza conflict, the Abraham Accords, international pressure on Jerusalem. The prophetic chessboard is arranging itself. Do you see what's happening? It's not any single element. It's the Convergence, the Euphrates drying, ancient sites emerging, Eastern coalitions rising, Israel surrounded by attention, all at the same time, all in the same generation, all pointing toward the same prophetic moment, not when the angels are actually released, not when the armies are marching, when they begin to happen, when you see the stage being set, when you see the patterns emerging, when you see the prophetic geography activating. That's when you look up. That's when you lift your head. That's when you recognize that redemption is drawing near. Jesus also gave us specific instructions for living in these times. Watch. Don't ignore what's happening. Don't dismiss the signs. Don't be so focused on daily life that you miss what God is doing on the prophetic stage. Matthew 24:42, KJV. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. Do not fear. The discoveries at the Euphrates should not terrify you. Even the eventual release of the 4 angels, as catastrophic as it will be, is under God's sovereign control. Nothing happens early. Nothing catches God by surprise. Nothing escapes His authority. Matthew 24:6, KJV. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Do not be deceived. Not every viral video is prophecy. Not every eerie sound is supernatural. Not every sealed cave contains bound angels. Discernment matters. Truth matters. Getting the Bible right matters. Matthew 24:4, KJV. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. Be ready. The drying Euphrates is not the fulfillment of Revelation 9, but it is a reminder that we are closer to the trumpet judgments than any generation before us. The stage is being set. The props are being arranged. The actors are taking their positions. And the director is watching from his throne, waiting for the precise moment to begin the final act. Are you ready for that moment? Not just intellectually, but spiritually? Is your relationship with Christ real and vibrant? Are you walking in obedience to what He's called you to do? Are you sharing the gospel with those who don't know Him? Are you living as someone who truly believes the King is coming? Because He is. And everything happening at the Euphrates is pointing to that reality.